Nawala yung audio sa'yo. Hello. Hi. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Dahil sa COVID-19 pandemic, napilitan tayong magbago ng paraan ng pamumuhay. Ika nga nila, New Normal. At maging sa edukasyon, kailangan na nating sumulong patungo sa New Normal. Ang pamahalaang lungsod ng Valenzuela ay gumawa ng hakbang upang matiyak ang tuloy-tuloy na pagkatuto ng bawat kabataang Valenzuelano. Sa pakikipagtulungan sa Department of Education o DepEd Valenzuela, ilulunsad na natin sa parating na school year ang Valenzuela Live. Ang Valenzuela Live ay isang online streaming school kung saan maaaring magpatuloy ang klase ng mga mag-aaral kahit sila ay nasa kanilang mga tahanan. Paano nga ba ang magiging sistema ng Valenzuela Live? Enrollment. Sa buong buwan ng Hunyo hanggang sa ika-15 ng Hulyo 2020 ay isinagawa ang K-12 enrollment sa lahat ng pampublikong paaralan sa Valenzuela City. Nagpatupad ang DepEd Valenzuela ng mga sistema ng enrollment kung saan hindi na kailangan lumabas ng tahanan ang mga estudyante. Learning Pockets. Gumawa ang DepEd Valenzuela ng mga learning materials tulad ng modules, worksheets, at study guides na naaayon sa most essential learning competencies. Ipapamahagi ang mga ito sa bawat mag-aaral sa iba't ibang paraan. Internet Connectivity. Humigit kumulang 130,000 ang enrollees sa elementary at high school sa Valenzuela City para sa school year 2020 to 2021. At ayon sa isinagawang survey ng DepEd Valenzuela, tinatayang 22,000 sa mga ito ang walang smartphone. At upang tulungan ang ating mga mag-aaral na nangangailangan at mapatutunayang walang smartphone, ang pamahalaang lungsod ng Valenzuela ay magpapahiram sa kanila ng mga gadget. Ang target beneficiary nito ay ang mga kapwa natin Valenzuelano na nabibilang sa poorest of the poor. Ang magulang o guardian naman na ang bahalang sumagot sa wifi o mobile data imbis na gumastos para sa baon at uniforme. Streaming School. Kung dati ay harapan ng diskusyon ng guro at mga estudyante sa loob ng classroom, ngayon ay tablet o smartphone na lang ang magiging kaharap nila. Lahat ng leksyon ay ituturo ng mga guro sa pamamagitan ng video streaming na maaaring mapanood ng kanilang mga estudyante sa kanilang mga gadgets. Ang Valenzuela School of Mathematics and Science o Valmasay ay gagamitin bilang off-site classroom. Dito ay sasagawa ng mga guro ang live streaming ng mga klase. Mayroong mga IT technician at moderator na magiging kaagapin ng mga guro para sa mas epektibong online classes. Magkakaroon din ng virtual communities kung saan pwedeng magsagawa ng follow-up discussions ang mga guro at estudyante gamit ang free online platforms na hindi nangangailangan ng mobile data subscription. Maaari rin ditong gumawa ng group chats ang mga magulang kung saan pwede silang mag-usap at magtulungan upang maging mas epektibo ang pag-aaral ng kanilang mga anak. Assessment. Ang mga estudyante ay kailangang bumuo ng portfolio kung saan ilalagay ang lahat ng ginawa nilang pagsasanay na susuri sa kanilang mga natutunan. Ang portfolio na ito ang pagbabasihan ng kanilang magiging grado. Ang pagbibigay ng marka o grado ay ibabatay sa panuntunan na ilalabas ng DepEd. Ngayong new normal, walang kabataang Valenzuelano ang maiiwan. Kaya tayo na Valenzuela, magbalik eskwela na sa tulong ng Valenzuela Live.
Good morning, senior high school students of Valenzuela City. Welcome to Valenzuela Live Facebook live streaming in general mathematics. Come and join me in today's session as we learn functions. Are you ready? Let's start. At the end of this session, you are expected to meet your today's objectives. First, represent real-life situations using functions, including piecewise functions. Second, evaluate a function. Third, perform addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and composition of functions. And fourth, solve problems involving functions. Let us have first a review concept about function, which you learned in your previous grade levels. By definition, a function is a relation defined as a set of ordered pairs x, y, where no two or more distinct ordered pairs have the same first element x. That is, every value of x corresponds to a unique value of y. Let's have now our activity entitled React on Me. I will be flashing different examples of relation, and you have to determine whether the given relation is a function by hitting the heart reaction button or not a function by hitting the sad reaction button. You will be given 5 seconds on this. Are you ready? Okay, let us begin. First, the set of ordered pairs 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4. Function or not a function? Time's up. If your answer is a function, you are correct, since every element in X appears only once. Those are 0, 1, 2, and 3. Second, the table of values with X as 5 and Y as 1, 2, 3, and 4. Function or not a function? Time's up. If your answer is not a function, you are correct, since the element 5 in X appears more than once. What about this mapping diagram? Function or not a function? Time's up. If your answer is a function, you are correct, since the element, which are the letters A, B, C, and D in X appear once. How about this graph? Function or not a function? Time's up. If your answer is not a function, you are correct, since if a vertical line is drawn in any part of our graph, it crosses our graph in more than one point, and we call it as vertical line test. Let us have the last one. Does it represent a function? Time's up. If your answer is a function, you are correct. This is a function, and in fact, you may recall that this is an example of quadratic function. Very good, grade 11. You are doing great so far. I guess you are now ready for our lesson. Let us start today's lesson with a problem that goes like this. You wish to buy a box of face masks from your friend's store that costs 80 pesos per box. How much will you pay for buying face masks of 3 boxes? 5 boxes. I'll give you 20 seconds to key in your answer on the comment box. Time's up. If you answered 240 pesos for 3 boxes and 400 pesos for 5 boxes of face mask by simply multiplying 3 and 5 respectively, then you are correct. The problem presented earlier represents the function in real life. In that problem, suppose that C is a function that relates the total cost of purchasing X boxes of face masks at 80 pesos each. Then, the scenario earlier represents C of X is equal to 80X. Let us have another example. During pandemic, tricycle ride in Valenzuela costs 20 pesos for the first kilometer and an additional 6 pesos for every succeeding kilometer. If your mother wishes to ride a tricycle going to the market, which is 0.5 kilometer away from your house, how much will she pay for the ride? If it's 3.5 kilometers away from your house, how much will she pay for the ride? I'll give you 20 seconds to key in your answer on the comment box. Time's up. If your answer is 20 pesos and 32 pesos respectively, you are correct. The given problem is an example of piecewise function. So, if we have to use piecewise function to present the tricycle fare F in terms of the distance d in kilometers, we have two equations. That is, f of d is equal to 20 if d is greater than 0 but less than or equal to 1. And 20 plus 6 times the floor function of d minus 1 if d is greater than 1. From the given problem, 0.5 kilometer lies on the domain of the first equation. So, 20 pesos will be the tricycle fare. The 3.5 kilometers, on the other hand, lies on the domain d is greater than 1. So, we need to perform the second equation. That is, f of d is equal to 20 plus 6 times the floor function of d minus 1. Floor function value of a number means we have to get the greatest integer less than or equal to that number. Examples. The floor function of 3.6 is 3. The floor function of 5.1 is 5. The floor function of 1.9 is 1. Did you get it? Okay, let us continue. From the problem where we need to use the second equation, f of d is equal to 20 plus 6 times the floor function of d minus 1 if d is greater than 1. Substitute the given, so we have 20 plus 6 times the floor function of the distance traveled in kilometers, which is 3.5. Subtracting 1 from 3.5, we get 2.5. What is the floor function of 2.5? Correct, 2. So we have 20 plus 6 times 2. But 6 times 2 is 12. Then we have 20 plus 12, which will give us an answer of f of d is equal to 32. Since the problem is an example of piecewise function, let us define it. Piecewise function is a function defined by different formulas for the different parts of its domain. From the first activity, it shows that function can be presented in the form of equation. The number assigned to a given variable determines the value of the function at that number. This process is called evaluating functions. When we evaluate function, we are to solve the function at a given value. Let us have an example. Let f be a function defined by f of x is equal to 2x minus 1. Find the following. A, f of negative 4. B, f of negative 1 over f of 6. Given the function f of x is equal to 2x minus 1, to evaluate the given function, we have to substitute negative 4 to x. That is, f of negative 4 is equal to 2 times negative 4 minus 1. But 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. So we have negative 8 minus 1. Last, subtract 1 from negative 8. And it will give an answer of negative 9. So, f of negative 4 is equal to negative 9. For letter B, again, given the function f of x is equal to 2x minus 1, we need to substitute negative 1 and 6 to x. That is, f of negative 1 over f of 6 is equal to 2 times negative 1 minus 1 over 2 times 6 minus 1. Next, perform multiplication. We will obtain negative 2 minus 1 over 12 minus 1. But negative 2 minus 1 is negative 3. And 12 minus 1 is 11. Thus, f of negative 1 over f of 6 is equal to negative 3 over 11. Can you follow? Great! Is it possible to obtain a new function from the original functions? How? That is through performing the operations addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and composition of function. When we obtain a new function by adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, and composition of functions, these new functions are called the sum, difference, product, quotient, and composite of the original functions. Let us solve the following definitions. Given two functions f and g, their sum, denoted by f plus g, is the function defined by f plus g of x is equal to f of x plus g of x. Their difference, denoted by f minus g, is the function defined by f minus g of x is equal to f of x minus g of x. Their product, denoted by f times g, is the function defined by f times g of x is equal to f of x times g of x. Their quotient, denoted by f over g, is the function defined by f over g of x is equal to f of x over g of x, where g of x is not equal to 0. Let us have an example. Given that f of x is equal to 2x squared minus x minus 1 and g of x is equal to x minus 1, find A, sum, B, difference, C, product, and D, quotient of the given functions. For letter A, given that f of x is equal to 2x squared minus x minus 1 and g of x is equal to x minus 1, let us find the sum of the two functions, that is, f plus g of x, which is same as f of x plus g of x. Substitute the given functions. We have the quantity 2x squared minus x minus 1 plus the quantity x minus 1, which is same as 2x squared minus x minus 1 plus x minus 1. Can you identify terms which are similar? Very good. Negative x and x, as well as negative 1 and negative 1 are similar terms. Combining them, we have f plus g of x is equal to 2x squared minus 2. For letter B, given the same functions, let us find the difference. That is f minus g of x, which is similar to f of x minus g of x. Let us now substitute the given functions. We have quantity 2x squared minus x minus 1 minus the quantity x minus 1, which is similar to 2x squared minus x minus 1 minus x plus 1. What is the next here? Correct. Let us combine similar terms. Those are negative x and negative x, negative 1 and positive 1. So, f minus g of x is equal to 2x squared minus 2x. For letter C, given the same functions, let us find the product. That is f times g of x, which is similar to f of x times g of x. Let us substitute the given functions. We have quantity 2x squared minus x minus 1 times the quantity x minus 1. Applying distributive property, we have 2x cubed minus x squared minus x minus 2x squared plus x plus 1. Can you see terms that are similar? You're right. Negative x squared and negative 2x squared are similar, as well as negative x and positive x. Combining them, we have 2x cubed minus 3x squared plus 1 as the product of the two functions. Lastly, let us find the quotient of the two functions, which is f of x, f over g of x, and that is similar to f of x over g of x, where g of x is not equal to 0. Substitute the given function. We have 2x squared minus x minus 1 over x minus 1. Observe the expression. Is the expression 2x squared minus x minus 1 factorable? Yes, it is factorable, and its factors are quantity 2x plus 1 and quantity x minus 1. So, 2x squared minus x minus 1 over x minus 1 is similar to quantity 2x plus 1 times quantity x minus 1 over x minus 1. X minus 1 in numerator and x minus 1 in denominator are equal to 1. So, the final answer is f over g of x is equal to 2x plus 1. We've done with the first way to obtain new function from the original functions. That is through getting the sum, difference, product, and quotient of the given function. Can you follow with our discussion? Great. Now let us have the other way of obtaining a new function, which we will call as composite function. Given two functions f and g, the composite function denoted by f composed with g is defined by f composed with g is equal to f of g of x. Remember that in computing f composed with g, apply first the function g to x and then function f to g of x. The following examples demonstrate this procedure. Let us have the given example. If f of x is equal to 2x squared plus 3x and g of x is equal to x minus 1, find a. Compose f composed with g of x. B. F composed with g of negative 3. From the given functions, f of x is equal to 2x squared plus 3x and g of x is equal to x minus 1, let us compute for f composed with g of x, which is same as f of g of x. We need to substitute the function g of x to the function f of x. That is replacing x minus 1 to the variable x in f of x. We have 2 times the quantity x minus 1 squared plus 3 times the quantity x minus 1. The variable x in f of x became x minus 1. Squaring x minus 1, we have 2 the quantity x squared minus 2x plus 1 plus 3 times the quantity x minus 1. Multiply or distribute 2 to the expression x squared, negative 2x, positive 1, and 3 to the expression x and negative 1. We have 2x squared minus 4x plus 2 plus 3x minus 3. In this expression, which terms are similar? Correct. Negative 4x and 3x, as well as 2 and negative 3. Combining them, we have f composed with g of x is equal to 2x squared minus x minus 1. On the same functions, let us find f composed with g of negative 3, which means f of g of negative 3. Here, we need to solve first for the f. For f, we need to solve first for g of negative 3. Then, substitute the answer to the f of x. That is f of g of negative 3 minus 1. But negative 3 minus 1 is negative 4. So we have f of negative 4. Substitute negative 4 to f of x. We have 2 times negative 4 squared plus 3 times negative 4. Next, squaring negative 4 and multiplying 3 by negative 4, we have 2 times 16 minus 12. But 2 times 16 is 32. So, 32 minus 12 is 20. Therefore, f composed with g of negative 3 is 20. Can you follow with our discussion? Great. Our last example shows how functions are seen in problem solving. Let's take a look with this example. A milk tea store can produce a milk tea at 70 pesos. It is estimated that if the selling price of the milk tea is X pesos, then the number of milk tea sold each day is 220 minus X. A. Express the daily profit of the store as a function of X. B. Use the result in A to determine the daily profit given that the selling price is 120 pesos. The profit, P of X, can be obtained by subtracting the total cost, C of X, from the total revenue, R of X. The total revenue is the product of the selling price and the number of the milk tea sold in a day. So, R of X is equal to X times 220 minus X. On the other hand, the total cost is the product of the cost per milk tea and the number of milk tea sold in a day, which is 70 times quantity 220 minus X. Factor the expression, wherein 220 minus x is the common binomial factor, and x minus 70 as the other factor. We have P of x is equal to quantity 220 minus x times the quantity x minus 70 as the profit of the store. Using our answer in A, which is P of x is equal to quantity 220 minus x times the quantity x minus 70, substitute 120. So we have P of 120 is equal to 220 minus 120 times the quantity 120 minus 70. Perform the operation. That is, 220 minus 120 is 100 and 120 minus 70 is 50. So multiply 100 by 50. So P of 120 is 5,000. Hence, the daily profit is 5,000 pesos. That's it, grade 11. I'm glad you made it to our last example. Now let us summarize our lesson for this day. What are the important things you need to remember about functions? First, functions represent real-life situations, including piecewise function. Second, evaluating functions Evaluating functions is solving function at a given value. Third, a new function can be obtained by adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing functions. Accordingly, these new functions are called the sum, difference, product, and quotient of the original functions. Fourth, a new function may also be obtained by getting the composition of the given functions. And fifth, problem involving functions can be solved as mathematical model. Now, the floor is open to entertain the queries that you drop in our comment section. Okay, let us check if there is question posted in our comment box. I guess there is a question. Okay, so there is a question from what school? Okay, so the first question from our comment box, how would you determine whether a graph is a function or not? Okay, so if the graph is given, we will be using the vertical line test. From the example earlier, which is the fourth example, that is actually a circle, no? So applying vertical line test, it crosses the graph in 2 points. So if it crosses the graph in more than 1 point, that graph is no longer function. So I'm going to give you an example, a graph which is function, linear. So if the graph is linear, applying the vertical line test, it will cross our graph in only 1 point. So the given graph is a function. So I hope I answered the question. We have the second question. How can we apply function in real life problems? Okay, so I guess I was able to answer the question number 2 with our discussion. I gave several examples. The first one is buying face mask. Okay, the second one is tricycle ride in Valenzuela. The third one is milk tea, getting the profit of the milk tea. So those are the application of function in real life. Okay, I guess no more question. Okay, before we end today's session, let me just remind everyone to answer the activities on your module. Once again, this has been your general mathematics teacher for today, saying goodbye for now. Stay safe and healthy until our next lesson. Thank you.
Pagod ka na bang magsulat ng contact tracing form sa bawat pinupuntahan mo? Natatakot ka bang mahawa dahil sa panulat na ginamit mo? Nangangamba ka ba para sa iyong data privacy? Higit sa lahat, may saysay nga ba ang mga pinagsusulat mo? Upang bawasan ang ating alalahanin sa tuwing magtutungo sa mga establishmento ngayong meron pa ring COVID-19 pandemic, ay ginawa nating mas madali ngunit mas maiting ang ating contact tracing sa Valenzuela City. Narito na ang Valenzuela Contact Tracing App o ang Valtrace. Sa pamamagitan ng Valtrace App, hindi na kailangan pang magsulat sa contact tracing form sa bawat pupuntahang establishmento. Kailangan lang ipakita at i-scan ang inyong unique QR code. Ang record ng inyong mga napuntahan ay direktang maitatala sa database ng ating Mega Contact Tracing Center na magiging malaking tulong para sa mas masinsinang contact tracing. Paano ba gamitin ang Valtrace app? Step 1. Mag-log on lang sa valtrace.upcase.net. Step 2. Sagutan ang online form at i-click ang Submit. Step 3. I-generate ang inyong QR code at i-save sa mobile phone. Maaari din itong i-print. Narito ang ilang paalalang dapat tandaan. Simula September 12, 2020 ay pwede nang i-download ang inyong QR code. Sa October 5, 2020 naman ay sisimulan ng hingin at i-scan ang inyong QR code sa bawat enclosed indoor establishment sa Valenzuela City, tulad ng mga mall, restaurant, grocery store, bangko, simbahan, palengke at iba pa. No QR code, no entry. Kaya mag-download na upang hindi maabala. Ang serbisyong ito ay libre at pwedeng gamitin taga Valenzuela ka man o hindi. Bawat isang QR code ay para lang sa isang tao, kaya dapat ay may sariling code ang bawat individual na papasok ng establishmento. Kailangan pa rin palaging dalhin ang quarantine pass sa tuwing lalabas ng tahanan. Ang QR code ay kakailanganin lamang tuwing papasok ng establishmento.